some mistakes in my life. You know, the things I did never seemed quite right. Making these changes for myself each and every day. Hoping the world will see these changes that I've made. What about you, my friend? You sit there as the tires wear the treads. You know you can't believe it, 'cause you don't know just what they've said. When I'm crying in this evening with the dire straits untied, did you ever get the feeling that we're both gonna run out here and hide? What do you want to say to me that you're keeping to yourself? You telling anybody else?
Okay, well, it happened on February the 18th, 1983. Started with a fist fight, which both of us held grudges, and then picked back up 2 days later.
They say both of us. Who is the person you're talking about?
I don't even remember their name.
Okay, but
And the midget that I was fighting.
How old were you at the time?
18.
18 years old. How old are you now?
I'm 50.
I don't believe you. You're 35. Take off your hat. Let's say. Show them.
No.
Oh Lord! All right, 50. There he is. Yep. The great. I like it. Okay, so you be as you were. So you got into a fight, and with a person. You were 18. You said.
Yeah, I was 18 at the time.
Okay, and what happened? What was the fight about? Where were you?
I was in Alexander, Arlington, Virginia.
Okay.
Right over the bridge.
Okay.
From D.C.
From Washington, D.C.
Yeah. And the fight was...
Were you in college at all?
Yeah, I was going to school at the time. So.
Okay.
And that would have pretty much was about color. Possibly had something to do with it. But
what happened with the fight?
Well, with the fight, we fought about 15, 20 minutes. Then we got broken up.
This guy in your college?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, we split it up, and like 2 or 3 days later, we engaged in another fight. This time was weapons drawn.
Okay.
And so...
What kind of weapons were drawn?
He drew like a slide stick.
Okay. What's a slide stick?
Slide stick is something that police use.
Like a billy club kind of thing? And like how big was it?
Well, you get him his hand, but when you shake him out like that, come off like a foot and a half.
Okay. Heavy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it would hurt? Yeah. Not like a wiffle ball bat?
He gave me about 60 stitches and some staples.
60 stitches?
And some staples.
So he hit you?
Yeah, in the hand.
Why did he hit you? Because of the fight. You're in a fight.
And he lost the fight.
But that seems like a really harsh thing to do. Yeah. That seems like a crazy, over-the-top thing to do in a fight.
Yeah.
What was his story? Why was he doing it? What was his problem with you?
Well, I think his problem with me was that being from Washington, D.C., coming over there to Alexandria.
Okay.
At that time, people from the district was getting a lot of attention.
And what time was that? What do you mean at that time? What year was that?
1983.
1983.
Yeah,
okay.
February 18th to be exact.
February 18th, 1983.
Yeah, it was verbal at first, and then he said some things, I said some things. Then we challenged one another, which, some time went by, then it ended up into a fist fight.
Okay.
And from the fist fight, a couple of days went by, it ended up with weapons.
Really?
I ended up getting about 60 stitches and like 9 staples in my head.
So most people, I think, or at least when you first told me the story, I have no idea what 60 stitches is. You know what I mean? That could be like 12 feet long, or it could be like an inch. Like that seems like a preposterous amount of stitches, like in your head. You said.
Yeah.
So, do you mind sharing the wound, or do you not want to share the wound?
I mean, once.
Okay. So, this is a scar right here. You can see it's pretty darn deep and pretty messed up. Right? I don't know if you can totally see it, but you were injured really badly.
Yeah.
And
I was hospitalized.
You're hot.
2 days.
But, okay. 2 days. That seems preposterous.
Longer.
Right.
But at this time, I was let my pride get in the way, and I got up and left, and did what I feel I was supposed to do as a man at that time. and I hunted the person down, did something back to him. And that winded up spending 20 years of my life in prison. You know, since in prison, I learned to forgive.
Well, what'd you do to him?
I shot him.
You shot him. And what happened?
I got locked up for 2 minutes.
So what happened to him?
Well, he was in critical condition for a while.
Where'd you shoot him? Or where'd he get hit?
In the torso.
Did you mean to do it there, or were you just...
Yeah.
You wanted to kill him? Yeah, okay. So he got shot in the torso, went to the hospital, went in critical condition. What happened? Did he live?
He lived for a while.
How long's a while?
Not to come to court and testify. Well, he lived about 7 months after.
Okay, but he came to court and testified. So you went to prison for how long?
21 years.
21 years. And you have it seems to me, someone smashed you over the head and broke your head with a bat or a billy club, and you feel it's because you were from D.C. going to a school in Alexandria, Virginia. My question, I guess, is, was it really just about that you lived in D.C. or Alabama or New York City or Oregon or whatever, or was it that you were, and I'm not sure where you are you African American?
Yeah.
Where's your family from?
We're all born and raised right here in D.C.
In D.C., but how far back? Like, what's the earliest known family member that you have?
Here, in addition?
No, that you who have passed on. Who have passed on. North Carolina.
Yeah.
Wow. So how far back are we talking? Like what year?
I know it definitely was in the 1800s.
1800s. All right. Like during slavery or not during slavery?
Definitely during slavery.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. All right. So you have some deep roots in this country, right? No question. Right. Was this guy white or black, or was he Latino?
He was white. He
was white, Caucasian?
Yeah.
Did you know this guy? Like, were you friends with him?
I wasn't friends. I just seen him periodically at the class.
So, but did you know him? Did you ever have a conversation with him?
Well, our first encounter was rude and disrespectful.
Okay.
Prior to the fist fight, I might have been around him almost a month.
Oh, okay. So you didn't know the guy at all, in my opinion. You just met the guy. When did you make the decision that you were going to go hurt this guy?
When he bust my head, and I went to the hospital.
As soon as it happened, you're like, this guy's done.
Yeah, and I woke up in the hospital, yeah.
Do you have regrets now? You're 50, how old are you?
I'm 50.
50 even. You're 50 even. And this was how old? You were 18, you said?
Yeah.
It's a lot of years ago. You're out of prison, right?
Yeah.
All right. And do you feel regret about what happened, about what you did?
Yeah, I regretted it because of the way it affected my family.
About your family. How did it affect your family?
The younger ones grew up. I didn't get to see them grow up. And the oldest ones, they got older. Some passed.
So what?
It wasn't there for them. I had a little brother who was 3 at the time. When I come home, he's 25.
Wow.
I was 3 years old when I left. He didn't even know me.
Yeah.
He knew me from my mother bringing him visits and, spending time like that.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got out, our rapport as brothers wasn't what I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And I knew it wouldn't have been like that if I went to jail.
Okay. Do you feel that you shouldn't have gone to jail? Because you did intentionally, beforehand, you decided to do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you decided to do it beforehand, you served 20 years in jail. Do you feel that that's an unjust sentence?
Yeah, I think it's a very unjust sentence when someone is fearing for their life.
Okay.
And they react.
Okay.
So.
But I guess the real question is, right, you did react. There's no question. How could you not react? I mean, a man tried to kill you, and you believe it was because of the color of your skin, right? And he was white, you were black, you were moving into his school or whatever, okay. Right? And this is in 1983. 1983, Reagan president. There's a bunch of kids watching this in countries all over the world, right? There's a war going on. There's wars all over. People blowing people up. As you told me earlier, during Muslim prayer, they're intentionally doing that. You illuminated that to me after you told me that the Muslims call their people to prayer 5 times a day with song, which I thought was the most beautiful thing in the world. And if you could say to the students listening out there, what you would ask them to do, or how this experience of what you've gone through could help people and heal them and maybe give them something to think about their lives, young kids today, black, white, yellow, Latino, Asian, every nationality, creed, color, sex, gender, whatever. What would you say to them to try to prompt them to take from your experience?
I think one thing, you have to know how to control their anger, and most of all their pride. Because for me, at that time, I can say this now, my pride was affected by it.
Your pride was affected by it afterwards.
Yeah, after I got hit in the head, went to the hospital, my pride was affected.
Okay.
However, like my parents told me, I shouldn't have never been able to find him or anything else because he should have been incarcerated because it happened on the school grounds, actually.
So you're right. So Charles, what I want to ask you is, you're 50 years old now. You are obviously a smart man. You're a wise man. You've been through a whole lot. I can't even imagine what you went through in that 20 years of prison, and what you went through afterwards, experiencing, enduring with your family, and the pain that you caused them, which you said you had regret for, and it sounded like you really want to maybe change that. And if your grandparents, your great-grandparents, you told me about earlier, who you had said was the greatest moment of your life, one of the things that you were the most amazed by, your great-grandfather, talking about his wife, and how he knew she was mad at him because she had not cut his sandwich. And you didn't know it then, but now you know that was one of the greatest moments of your life. What would you say to them, your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, the people from not only the beginning of Virginia, but back to North Carolina, and even back to the 1800s and back to Africa? Everyone, the whole world, man. So what would you say if you were the judge now as a 50-year-old talking back to yourself, right? And what would the punishment be that you would make? And how, when giving that punishment, would you try to help your parents, help that guy, and maybe if you couldn't help that guy, help his family, and maybe teach some of the kids out there who are listening to this, the adults, and anyone who is around here who wants to help heal other people? What would you say as the judge?
As a 50-year-old right now, I understand that the options that I have, but as an 18, I really wasn't familiar with how many options that I have to be answered for. But I did ask to go into the military.
You asked to go into the military.
I
Why?
asked to go in the military to not only pay my debt to society, however, to be able to have a life for myself, where that is being incarcerated wouldn't become a repeated door. It wouldn't be something that at due time, get out, go back. Wouldn't really repeat it. Something that's, the only thing I know.
So why the military? Was that the only thing you knew?
Well, I feel as though at the time, the military would have been educational for me. And regardless of how much time I did there, I knew I'd come out with a craft or skill to survive in society as a citizen.
Okay.
The alpha plea is when you plead guilty with the explanation.
And what was your explanation?
My explanation was that he tried to kill me.
Okay. So that's a pretty good explanation.
And I retaliated.
Yeah.
But was none of that considered on the sentence. But that is a law.
Okay. A law saying what you can do that if you're attacked, right, and if someone is trying to murder you.
Yeah.
But here's the question: if I were the judge, or here's what I would ask you, what I am asking you, is that it was 2 days later. You didn't do it in the spot. That would be totally different.
Yeah.
You thought about it.
I couldn't do it in the spot. I was leaving.
I hear you. So what do we do about that, man? What do we do? Well, we can't do about it in 1983, but that still goes on today, right? There are still people that murder people, that attack people, that hate people because of their skin color, because of their creed, because of their religion, because of their gender, their sex, because of how much money they have or don't have, or what kind of disability they have. How do we stop the violence?
Well, I think it's a taught behavior for one.
The violence.
Yeah. It's not something that they just born with. It's a behavior that's taught.
Okay.
And so, if a parent's telling this kid one thing, and they're gonna follow their parents. I think if the schools have some obligations to teach them to a certain degree, but I don't feel as though we can just point a finger at one individual because it's a society as a whole.
Something about it. So what can they do? You experienced it, man, and
Okay.
you're wiser now. Tell these kids what they can do to prevent that from happening.
What they can do is, number one, you got, stand firm in what you believe in. Number two, you definitely have to get rid of the pride thing, what they call pride.
Okay.
That's one of the biggest obstacles for a young male or female to get over. Pride. Really
What is
elaborate
gin?
on
We talked about that earlier.
Gin
It was
is
kind of a
part
punishment.
Yeah, from what I've read and have studied over the years.
How do you spell gin?
Jinn.
J-N-N.
Yeah, it's part of our genetic makeup as human beings. We have to gradually grow and mature. We learn to keep the gin dormant, which brings about maturity.
And what is the gin that you're keeping dormant, that you're keeping restful,
It's a
sleepful?
part of us that, from my understanding of reading, that it makes us do silly things or childish things, in which that you might find a 30-year-old acting like a 15-year-old. And that could be some defects that he never had control of the gin that makes him act that way. And then you have some 16-year-olds that act mature as 25, 30-year-olds, depending on the upbringing of the house and their father, how well he received it from him. It's how well he keeps it dormant.
So what is the gin, though?
The gin,
you're learning from your father, saying it's important, it's in our genetic makeup.
Yeah, I think
what is it?
The gin is something like that have us doing immature things.
And what are immature things? How do you define them?
Immature things would be things that would be detrimental to another human being other than yourself.
Okay.
And once you're going that far,
and that's in the genetic makeup, to do things that are detrimental to other people.
If not properly taught, yes.
Ah.
Yes.
All right.
That's what the gin is.
And you know what? Maybe the assignment. Wait, can I just interrupt?
With one parent, gin plays a big.
I think the directive for the participants in Scaba Inframpted, right? Trying to fight against the Raybot spiders takeover. I think their directive is to figure out for themselves, what is the gin? Charles, thank you so much. Seriously, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I've made some mistakes in my life. The things I did never seemed quite right. Making these changes for myself each and every day, hoping the world will see these changes that I've made. What about you, my friend? You sit there